So, what if the secret to unshakable confidence, the kind that makes people follow you without question, was actually discovered over a century ago? What if Nikola Tesla figured out the physics of reality, while at the very same time his contemporary Carl Jung was uncovering the psychology of how to master it? Let's dive into what that combined blueprint actually looks like.
The story really kicks off with this hidden truth. We're always told Tesla was this genius of electricity and inventions, but according to the source material for this explainer, his most profound discovery wasn't about technology at all. It was about you, about human potential. And it was a discovery so powerful, the story goes, that it was deliberately seized and hidden away. Picture this. January 7th, 1943. Nikola Tesla is found dead in his hotel room in New York. Within hours, the FBI swoops in and seizes 2 whole truckloads of his papers, his notes, all of his research. And even today, a huge chunk of those documents are still classified. So you have to ask, what was the secret they were so desperate to hide?
This right here is the secret that the source claims was buried. It's a massive, paradigm-shifting idea that completely flips our understanding of reality on its head. I mean, we all assume our brain creates our awareness, right? Well, this idea proposes the exact opposite, that there's an underlying field of consciousness that creates not just our brain and our body, but our entire world. Now, to really get a grip on this, you can look at the work of the physicist John Wheeler, a guy who actually worked with Einstein. He called it the participatory universe. And the idea, while it sounds complex, is actually pretty simple but totally world-shattering. Reality isn't some fixed movie that we're all just watching. No, we are active participants, literally co-creating the universe with every single observation we make. We're taught from day one to see the world as out there, something totally separate from us. But this new model suggests the world works more like a giant mirror, perfectly reflecting our internal state right back at us. So we're not just in the universe. In a very, very real way, the universe is actually in us. And listen, this isn't just some philosophical theory. It's rooted in a very real, very weird quantum physics phenomenon. In the famous double slit experiment, particles behave in a completely different way when they're being measured versus when they're not. The source material interprets this to mean that the simple act of you observing something literally changes the outcome. That makes you, the observer, a critical part of the whole process.
Okay, so if our observation is actually shaping reality, what's the mechanism? I mean, how does it really work? Well, according to the source, the answer is in our personal energy field. This constant, invisible broadcast that is shaping the world around us, and it's driven by the deepest parts of our own psyche. And I know that might sound a little abstract, but this is something that's measurable. The HeartMath Institute has actually documented that the electromagnetic field generated by our heart is so powerful, it can be detected 8 to 12 feet away from the body. Think about that. You are not just contained within your skin, you are an energetic field that is extending way out into the room. And that field, it isn't static. It's constantly broadcasting the quality of your thoughts and your emotions. This means your circumstances, your health, your relationships, the opportunities you get, they aren't random at all. They are the direct physical reflection of the frequency that you're broadcasting, most of the time without even knowing it.
And this is where it all comes together. This is where Tesla's physics meets Jung's psychology. Because if we are broadcasting a frequency that creates our reality, then the big question is, how do we get conscious control of that signal? And that brings us to the practical part of this whole blueprint, a protocol for shifting your broadcast from an unconscious reaction to conscious creation. It's basically a 4-step process. First, you use your breath to align your frequency, just like Tesla would tune a circuit, simple but powerful. Second, you actually become aware of your field. You can feel the energy between your hands. Then comes the crucial 3rd step, and this is where Jung's work is so key. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about feeling the emotion of your whole self, the integrated king, the leader archetype. You pour that feeling of wholeness into your field. And finally, you just watch as the mirror of reality starts to reorganize itself around your new signal, which is exactly what Jung called synchronicity. This is where Jung's work becomes absolutely critical. He taught that real, authentic power comes from confronting your shadow, all those parts of yourself you try to repress, your anger, your ambition, your fear. Once you realize you're the one shaping your world, you can't be a victim anymore. You have to make a choice. Are you going to let your unconscious shadow create your life by default, or are you going to integrate it and start creating by design?
So this really lays out the two paths you can take. The victim mindset is basically an unconscious creator, right? Always driven by that unacknowledged shadow, constantly reacting to things and asking, why is this happening to me? But the creator mindset, what Jung might call the truly integrated self, takes full responsibility. By owning every part of themselves, they consciously choose their frequency and instead ask, what am I creating? The whole shift is from blaming the mirror to changing the person in the reflection. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway of this whole blueprint. This knowledge isn't just empowering, it demands total, complete personal responsibility. Because the moment you truly get that you are the source of your experience, the entire game of blame and powerlessness, it just ends forever. So we end with a question that's really aimed directly at you. This isn't just some interesting theory to think about. According to the source material, this is the fundamental operating system of the universe. You are broadcasting a signal right now. You are collapsing potential into reality this very moment. So the only real question left is, what reality will you choose to create with your frequency and with your whole self?